Jay, thank you for stepping up to the line. I'm really glad that you're here.
Yeah, glad to do it.
Tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do. I see you have Call Up Enterprises on your shirt there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So my company, Call Up Enterprises, is a operator training company. So what I mean by operator training is I will come out to your site with your machines and train your people in your atmosphere. So when I say atmosphere, I mean on your job sites. So your application with your machine. So it's not fictitious. It's not just a classroom setting where we just talk about theories.
Right.
I can do that as well. However, I will try to guide you out of that and let's go to the field, because the hands-on, one-on-one, that's where you're going to get the most bang for your buck.
Yeah.
And let's be honest, most people are tired of school when they get done with school. And so sitting in death by PowerPoint, I don't want to do it that way. I will if I need to get points across correctly. We need to stop and do a complete reset and talk through the application and talk through safety and talk through a couple other things. Maybe they're missing some major components, then we'll stop production and do that classroom. Other than that, I want to conduct trainings out in the field where we're actually doing their work, right? Because a lot of times when you're just in the classroom, then the questions come up, well, we don't do it that way. We don't do that work. Okay, so I just wasted 4.5 hours of yours and my time.
Right.
And we're going to get nothing out of this time. So in the field, working with them hands-on is where I'm going to see how I can help them better themselves.
Yeah.
That's the key. My goal is to better people so that their skills are better, therefore they're better at their jobs, which means in turn they're going to be better at life. They're going to get promotions, they're going to get raises, they're going to learn how to work as a team, because a lot of what I'm teaching is not just for that one individual. It's how do you work with this machine, how do you work with the foremans, how do you work with the other machines, and everything that's all on this job site. How do we make it cohesive together? And then we build a team instead of a I mentality, so that the whole group will rise, right? And when we do that, then we're gaining production. We're saving money on O&M costs because we're not tearing things up. We're not burning as much fuel. We're not tearing up tires. We're not slipping track.
Yeah.
All the good parts that come off of that, and that person is going to have a better satisfaction because the job that they're doing is getting elevated.
Yeah.
Right. So there's lots of steps to it. Training is not just a one and done. It's not I can't just spend 4 hours with you and turn you into an operator. That's physically impossible.
Well, definitely not a good operator.
Correct. I wouldn't call you an operator.
I was waiting for that. I was wondering if you were going to say that. Yeah.
It takes time. So that's why I like to come on site with them, because they're going to be in the machines that they're familiar with.
Yeah.
It's not putting them in something that's a brand new piece of iron or gear that they've never run before, and now they got to figure out the buttons and the controls and all those other pieces to it. They're familiar with that unit.
Yeah.
So they understand all the small nuances that machine has, because machinery is just like people.
Yeah.
They could be one serial number apart coming off the factory line. This one's going to run different than this one.
Yeah.
They're mechanical. Things are different.
I know that. So I'm an electrician by trade, and so I've never run. Here we are at Dirt World, and I'm going to talk about when I've run equipment. Tiny. And electricians, you heavy civil guys love us. We just dig trenches, throw pipe in it, and then get accused of not compacting it right. And yes. So I can remember when I used to do that in the field for the electrical company that I worked for. And, I'd be running a machine, and even the machine, it changed with time and me.
Yeah.
Because I can remember getting a new machine, and it was the exact same machine, exactly what you're talking about.
Yes.
And it acted totally different.
Yeah.
You
The
know,
hydraulic pump wears out. It's
Exactly.
a little bit slower. It
Yeah.
has a small leak or something. It doesn't have the same pressures.
Yeah.
So yeah, it runs different. And then you get in the new one, you're like, I can't even run this thing. It's so fast. It's so responsive, and I can't move my hands.
that
with
is exactly how I felt.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I'm talking about. It makes it a whole lot easier to actually get in and break down all those little nuances, right? What's going through your mind? What can I do to actually change your mind thought or help you understand if you approach something just a different angle, how it's going to affect the leverages and make the machine actually work in the way the purpose was designed by the engineers.
Yeah.
So you're not working against the machine is actually doing the work for you, and it's just an extension of your body.
So let's talk about that. That's really interesting that you say that. I'm going to say something here that I've said to people over the years, and I want to be really clear. I haven't been in a machine for years except on my farm, and that's a reason that's the only place I run a machine anymore.
Understand?
So I love it.
Probably the same reason why I call an electrician. I'm not going to touch it.
Exactly. I love it, but when I used to run it on a more daily basis when I was younger, you talked about it being an extension of your body, and a lot of people are going to call bullshit on this maybe, but as an electrician, we'd be doing trenches and whatnot, and we'd have to uncover things. Mm-hmm. And so I would swear to you that there were times where I'd be uncovering different conduits or things like that underground, and I could feel them.
Oh, yeah.
Without break. Like I'd be digging with a tooth, and I remember one time it was a 1-inch PVC conduit, and I'm scraping, and obviously I knew that it was there. I was paying attention, and it's like, wait a minute, that's it.
Yeah, you feel it.
Yeah.
100%. That's not bullshit. That
Yeah.
that is a true testament of someone that actually has a full understanding of their machine.
Yeah.
And what is actually happening inside of it. They get that sense of what is it actually doing.
Well, that was over 20 years ago, so I don't have that sense anymore.
Yeah. And 20 years ago, you're actually feeling everything because it was all pilot controlled. So you're actually holding hydraulics in your hand as you were moving. There's actually hydraulic lines and hoses that came
That's
up
true.
to the levers or
I never
the
thought about
levers.
that.
And so you're actually feeling that feedback up through it. These newer machines don't have that because it's EH controlled. You're touching electro hydraulics. So when you're asking the lever, it's a solenoid firing electronics to the pump or to the valve, telling the valve to open. Now, it works the same as far as the farther and faster you throw it, the harder and faster the hydraulics are moving. But you don't get the same feedback. So it is harder now to actually feel that 1-inch line.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Because the feel isn't there. It's not the same. Now,
So how would you? So if you're a trainer, how would you describe that feel to me now? If I'm getting back in the machine.
So it is. It's a different feel to it, to where you don't have the same amount of resistance.
Okay.
But there is a little difference in the way that resistance feels as you get right next to that pipe. Right. So if you just scrape it with your tooth.
Yeah.
If you're still in tune with the machine, you can still feel that.
Yeah.
Because you have a different sense, and the machine has a little reaction back to it. It has a little feedback. It's not the same type of feedback because, again, it's not resonating through the hydraulic lines, but you can still feel it through the pins and bushings and whatnot. It's still there. It's just
It's crazy how
different.
it changes. I mean, that's just insane. So that's what you do,
Yes.
and you. I asked you before we got started here. I said, "Well, what's your geographic area that you work in?" And I don't want to say it. I want you to say it.
Yeah.
So, what is your geographic area that you work in?
The world. Yeah. I will go anywhere.
For now,
I will
I
get
mean,
on
there's
an airplane
stories of
and go
Bezos
anywhere.
putting a base on the moon. So,
Yeah.
that would
Yeah.
be interesting to dig in zero gravity. I wonder what
Yeah,
that-
I mean, I'm game.
Yeah.
They want to go to the moon? Beam me up, Scotty. Yeah. I mean, why not?
So, and later this week or next week, you're going to.
Friday, I'm headed to Zambia.
Wow.
Going to a copper mine to do some large machines. So 994 and D11.
So they're having you come out there to train their people and how to use those. Do you feel like that this business model of what you have, is it growing?
Yes. So as awareness comes about and people understand, see that there's actually an avenue of where to get some help,
Yeah.
and it's not just through a dealer, which if we talk about the background, which I think we're going to do here in a little bit.
Yeah.
I worked at some dealers and I worked for a manufacturer, but the difference is when you come to a third-party professional like myself, I'm not biased to the name brand of
Right.
a manufacturer.
Right.
I don't care who it is. I don't
Right.
care what manufacturer it is. We're going to talk about application,
Yeah.
and we're going to make your people work the best in your application by getting the most out of their machines, which then goes into my tagline, which is get the most out of your assets. And I'm not talking about the machines. I'm talking about the people.
Yeah.
Is you build your people
Come on.
then build your business.
Yeah.
When you build your people, they stick and stay,
Yeah.
right? Everybody's worried about, well,
I
if
like that. They stick and stay.
what if I train them and they leave? And I answer that, well, what if you train them and they stay? Right? What if you trained them and they stay? What happens to you? Mm-hmm. Right? And unfortunately, a lot of the places I go, they're not going to give me all the background on the financials, right? But
Right.
I can tell you that very quickly and very easily. It's really simple and easy to see where I can save a company tens of thousands of dollars.
Oh, yeah.
In a quarter. I'm
No,
not
I
talking
can
about.
believe that.
I'm talking about very quickly the rate of return, and over a year or 2 years, where that can turn into hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not millions of dollars, because of the efficiency of how they're going about it. They're planning their work differently. They're understanding the machine capabilities. They're actually honing their skills, because once you start down the path of teaching and training,
Yeah.
most people don't stop when I leave,
Right.
because I give them bits and pieces. I can't do everything in a short little time frame. It takes time to train. It takes multiple trips to actually get to the pinnacle, if you will.
Right.
To walk through every scenario and teach every scenario. But when I leave, a lot of times those operators, they're still trying things. They're still learning it.
Yeah.
And then they master it. And then all of a sudden, 3 or 4 weeks later, they're doing something, and then something clicks. They try a function and it clicks.
Yeah.
And it's something that I was talking about 3 or 4 weeks earlier, and they just add it to their repertoire. Said that wrong, butchered it.
Hey,
But they add it to
we'll
their,
go back and edit that. Wait, we
No,
don't do that.
It's not.
Yeah.
They'll add it to their tool belt.
Yeah.
And now they just became that much more productive,
Yeah.
because they're continuing to learn. And then most of them get my phone number,
Yeah.
and most of them follow me on my social medias, and so they will reach out and ask questions. I have people that I have not seen in 6 years.
Yeah.
I've not seen them in 6 years, but I talked to them 2 weeks ago,
Right.
because he's like, hey, send you a picture. What's this?
Right.
What do I do here? Okay, I'll help.
It's very similar to my trade of electrician, where we are often troubleshooting, working through things, and it's interesting. When I was younger, I heard this statement, and it actually is true. But there's no substitute for experience, and experience is something we don't realize how essential it is,
Yeah.
and how much money it can save you.
Yeah. And,
So-
and the unfortunate part, I mean, it's one of the talks this morning we had here at the summit was talking about the rate of attrition and how fast we are losing that experience. How fast
Yeah.
we're losing the people that have tenureship that should be mentoring people, and they're not. They're not passing the knowledge down.
It's
because-
actually, not only is it irritating, but it's really dangerous, I think.
Oh, yes.
I've said this more than once. I know I've said it on the podcast here, and I'm going to sound a little crazy, but you watch the different things about the pyramids, and we talk about, well, did aliens build them? What was this? What was that? And it's like, what's more likely? Is it possible that they were in a similar situation to what we are now, where there was a great wealth of knowledge that began to disappear?
Yeah.
And they didn't catch it, and it's like, I would find it a little bit more believable that maybe there was some engineering things and some things that they did, because I've been on job sites where I've watched experience trump everything else.
Yes.
You know, in electrical work, when we do a wire pull something, we have a thing that we do called rigging, when we're rigging up and setting up for, you know, a wire pull with ropes and pulleys and things like that. And I'll never forget.
And if you rig it wrong, it doesn't work.
Not only does it doesn't work, somebody could die.
And it turns into knots. And
It's ridiculous. And I've watched old timers with experience rig something that I couldn't do without their experience. Like, it's just like they looked at it and it's like, I'm there trying to work it and make it work. And this guy comes over, been doing it for 45 years. And he's like, boom.
Yeah.
Done.
And it pisses you off because it's so easy for them, right? And
Randy Blunt's just creeping in
hey,
the
what's up,
background.
Randy?
So.
Come on, baby. So that is such a real thing right now, because it's the same in electricians, but in the equipment world, there's nothing we do that won't kill you.
Yeah.
There is not a job site that you go on that there is a heavy piece of machinery sitting out there that there's you step on site, there's nothing there that won't kill you.
Yeah.
Period. And
Yeah.
it's that fast.
Yeah.
And the problem is, if we're not handing that information down and we're not giving that experience, then we're not actually helping. But the other side of that is, let's talk about that generation as well. They weren't taught all the proper procedures either. So a lot of it's trial by fire.
Yeah.
It's good, but they need polish too.
Yeah. Well, I think that's the other thing about the trades that is fascinating. Whether you're operating equipment, you're an electrician, you're a plumber, whatever it is, to feel or think that you have arrived is not true.
Yeah.
And I would actually go as far as to say very dangerous.
Yeah. No, I agree with you.
You know, in my trade, it's like the moment that happens, I don't want to work with you anymore.
Yeah. When you don't want to learn,
Yeah.
get away from it. And I will tell you this to full nauseum, that the day I quit learning is the day I stopped doing this.
Well, I mean,
Period.
you talk about that with you want to make better people, meaning more rounded, more balanced, more all of that. And it's like, that's a mantra. It doesn't, I don't care who you are and what you're doing. I've said to people, when you come to the place where you're done learning, and whether that's your industry knowledge, whether that's your personal life, whatever it is, when you come to that place, you better dig yourself a 6-foot hole and just lay down, because there's no point.
That I agree with that 100%. The piece I wanted to add in here is when I'm on site a lot of times, and I will actually get in the machine and I'll demonstrate what I'm wanting them to do, because maybe they're not understanding what I need, what I'm looking for out of them, and so I'll get on the machine and I'll work, I'll do it, and they make these comments like, "Man, you make it look so easy. Make it look so easy." I've honed my craft.
Yeah.
And I work at it.
Yeah.
You know, when I'm not in a training session, I'm studying.
Yeah.
I mean, I live it. I love tractors. I love tractors. But I love helping people.
Come on.
So there's another component to this building the people piece that I want to talk about just briefly, right?
Yeah.
And it's going just way over here, but I'm gonna make this because in my life, when I put God first and then put my family right behind Him,
Yeah.
my life changed.
Did you always do that, or are you saying that
I was not
you
that
learned
way.
that and you made a decision to do that?
Yeah, well, yeah,
All right,
that's a
let's-
long story. Maybe in a little bit. Let me try to get to the end of this
Yeah,
point.
come on.
I want to help everybody build themselves.
Yeah.
And if you don't have a foundation to build off of, I'm going to give you mine.
Yeah.
And I'm going to explain mine. And I'm going to give you my testimony. And you're going to understand how I got to where I got.
Yeah.
And why I'm in the position I'm in. And I feel like every day I'm in the mission field, right? Every day I'm out, I'm a fisher of men, and I'm out doing the work, out in the field, and that's why I love doing what I do.
Come on,
because
Jack.
as I'm going out, I am bringing light
Yeah.
to a dark world. We live in a
Yeah.
dark world.
We do.
I bring light. I bring exuberance. I bring joy. And the other side of that is the benefit is you're going to gain skills.
Yeah.
I'm building a person. I help people understand who they are, help them to think about how they are doing things. Because when I'm one-on-one with you, we got a lot of personal time.
Yeah.
And I'm going to divulge some things into you, and I'm going to break down some of those walls that you naturally build so that you understand that this is a safe spot.
Yeah.
Because when I get in, when I can get internal and I can talk to you about me,
Yeah.
and you can openly talk about you and where you're at, where your mindset is, and I can talk to you about where I've been and bring you up and let you know that you're not going to do it alone.
Yeah.
You're never alone.
Yeah.
Then we build skills.
I think
Skills
the
are
only
just a
way
benefit.
that you can do that, and this is important because we struggle with this in the trades, because I love what you're talking about. I 100% agree with what you're saying. I think the problem with that is, and they talked about it a little bit earlier today in one of the sessions, but the problem is ego in
Yeah.
construction. We have this
Pride.
this ego thing, which, yes, it's a fancy way of saying pride. And it's like, well, you're going to do this because I told you, or I'm not, I've been there, but I'm not sharing how I was there, how I got from there to here. And we let our ego get in the way, and it really, really messes things up. And you can't do what you're talking about doing, giving a foundation, sharing things, divulging things. You can't do that if you have ego in the midst of it.
That's
it just
true.
doesn't work.
That's true.
So I want to ask you a question. What is a tool or a piece of gear that you cannot live without?
For me,
Yeah.
it's tractors. And for me,
So hang on.
I'm going to get
Tractors.
specific.
Like, so there's people listening to this podcast. I hope there's people listening to this podcast.
There better be.
That what do they, they're thinking that you're talking about a lawn tractor, or you're talking, like, when you say tractors, what do you mean?
I'm talking about the yellow iron, the stuff that's moving dirt,
Yeah.
the stuff that is making this world, building the roads, building the infrastructure to get to do everything that we do and get to enjoy the machines that are doing the mining,
Yeah.
that are pulling the minerals out of the ground, that give us our watches and our cell phones and our eyeglasses and all the things that we use every day that
Yeah.
people don't even realize.
Yeah.
So for me, honestly, it's a motor grader. That's my favorite thing in the whole wide world. I love running motor graders.
So for those that are listening and don't know what that is, describe it for me.
So it's typically it's a 6-wheel machine. So 2 in the front, and then you have 2 wheels in the back. The engine's in the back, and it's got a 14, 16-foot blade that you use to build roads, smooth the roads.
Yeah. What is it about it that you love so much?
The challenge. It is the most difficult piece of equipment to master.
Really?
Yes.
So,
by far.
without getting too off topic, well, actually, this is the whole topic. Why? What's so difficult about it?
Because it moves in so many different ways. You have so many different functions where most machines is steering and a bucket and a boom control. Well, this you have steering, wheeling, drawbar adjustment. You have moldboard shift, moldboard pitch. Then you have articulation.
People
Right.
have no idea all the things that are involved with this.
Yes. So today it's all done off of 2 joysticks, right? All of that's right here, 2 joysticks. In the past, and we're just talking a couple of years ago, there was a steering wheel and 9 levers.
What?
Yeah, your hands were full, baby.
9 levers.
Yeah, your hands were full.
So a steering wheel and 9 levers. So you have 10 fingers.
Yeah. Your hands are
that's-
full. You're doing this.
Wow.
Oh, I forgot about the rippers. You got rippers or scarifiers, depending on how the machine's set up. So, and then you get in the cold country and you got snow plows and, the big V piles up in the front, and you got wings hanging off the side to move snow. And that adds 2 more functions.
So, Jay, I get this picture as you're talking. You talk about how you have to get in there and you got to show them to do it. There was a movie that came out a few years ago called Maverick. Now, I'm a child of the 80s, so Top Gun was something that I've watched over and over again.
I've watched it 20 times.
Yeah, so there we go. So I get this. There's a scene in the Maverick movie where they're like, "Yeah, it can't be done. It can't be done." And
And
he
then
had to come in and he had to show him how to do
sign,
it.
and like, who's
Yeah.
on the field?
Exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
So that's
Best
what
part
you
of the
do,
movie.
basically.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
yeah, we need to get you a Top Gun hat so that you can just wear that. You know, you teach the Top Gun school of
Yeah.
operators. I love it.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I love it. I love that machine. And honestly, if people understood what it did,
Yeah.
they would love it too. Just because if you want to drive down a smooth road, you don't want a bumpy road. You know.
Yeah.
Who wants to do this? You want a nice
I've
smooth
experienced that.
road. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, motor grader is what fixes and makes the road smooth, so that you don't have the bumps.
So you really like the challenge.
I love it.
Yeah.
Because it is challenging, because different applications, you have to set it up completely different ways, you know, and, you know, not to get into all the details here and all the weeds, but 5 degrees of an offset on that drawbar versus articulation will completely change how that machine reacts.
Wow.
And that's a minute movement. I mean, you're talking about that. It's not far.
Yeah.
You know, it's not that far out of line, but it will completely change that machine. It'll take it to where the machine struggles to do a job, or it cuts through like butter.
Yeah.
It is literally that simple of a readjustment or realignment on your setup of the machine, and it just does the work for you.
I think that's one of the things that I think people don't realize, and this is my rub with everything trades related, is people, if things work, they don't pay attention to them, and they're not aware. And I don't think people realize, like when you're going down the highway and you're going down the road, like a lot of people don't even know about the crown of the road and the fact that the road is shaped in a way that when you're driving you might think it's flat.
Yeah,
but it's not. Yeah.
No, if it doesn't have 2 to 4%, the water doesn't shed correctly.
Right, and then we
It
have
needs
this thing
to
on the
shed.
highways called hydroplaning.
Yeah.
Where we
Yeah.
fly off the road.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the kind of stuff that I'm just fascinated that people are unaware of, that they need to be aware of.
Yeah.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about how you got where you are. So, you know, what's your story? Like, did
Sure.
you just wake up with, you know, a grater in your hand, or?
Basically, yes. So, born and raised out in a small town, southeast Arizona, east of Tucson. Just played in the dirt. I had every Tonka toy ever made, and I'd get up and I was outside
Yeah.
playing in the dirt and playing with the Tonka toys. And grew up, wanted to be a cowboy. I cowboyed for a couple of years. Came from a long line of ranching family.
Okay.
You know,
Arizona, that doesn't surprise me.
yeah, we were a ranching family. Cowboyed out of high school, actually moved to Oklahoma right out of high school, and then ended up in Florida cowboying. Believe it or not, Florida is covered in cows.
Really?
Oh, yeah. That's another story for another podcast. Always loved machines.
Yeah.
When I was a young kid, I ran my grandpa's dozer out on the ranch, and I'm talking I was a little kid.
So I've only ran a dozer once in my life. My wife and I built a house, and we had to clear a forest on our property, and so I rented a dozer. That was probably the most fun that a 40-year-old man could have.
Yeah, it's a
I'm
blast.
telling you what, it was pretty awesome.
Yeah, when you put that blade in the ground and it starts peeling the earth.
Yeah.
It's usually that Tim Allen.
Yes, exactly. It is exactly what it's like.
Yeah.
And it's also a lot less work
Yeah.
to do that than to clear the forest any other way.
Sure, for sure. Yeah. So starting in a young age, I got a chance to run his dozer, and then I just have always loved machines. Like
Yeah.
I love tractors. Just watching them work, watching them just do what they do. It's just
There's something
baffling.
about watching the earth be reshaped.
It's mesmerizing.
Yeah.
If you really just sit back and watch, if it's a good crew and those guys understand what they're doing, it's a dance. It's mesmerizing to watch it happen. And
So I've seen that, and I would say it's true. One of my very first jobs that I ever did in the area that we live in, there's a company called Brubacher, and they're a pretty big excavation, heavy civil company. And their tagline, I think, is something like "Shaping the world we live in."
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. But I did a job, a road project, and there was a bunch of hundreds of year-old trees at a university, and Brubacher had won the excavation part, the paving, but basically everything heavy civil. But there were all these trees that had to be removed, and they had a crew, a tree clearing crew that came in 6 hours, and it looked like they were never there.
Yeah.
Like tractor trailer with a, they had a grapple that would grind
Put it
it,
in the grinder.
blow it in the trailer,
Yeah.
and it was like, and you watch these
And
guys.
it's gone.
It was everything cool
Yeah.
because you had guys with like 5-foot bars on their chainsaws coming out, cutting these trees down and throwing them in there, and then the equipment came and they already started moving and regrading the road and everything. It was amazing.
Yeah, it's fascinating to watch.
Yeah.
I've never outgrown it. I don't think I ever will. Like, I love doing what I do because
Yeah.
I get to sit there and watch constantly.
Yeah.
The earth be reshaped,
Yeah.
be reformed in the way that we want it to be.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's watching a skilled operator. Man, it's so much fun for me.
Yeah.
So
I would agree 100%. And it's like when you, a skilled operator, and again, I'm not an operator, but I've seen them. I've worked alongside them as an electrician, and it's you said it earlier. It's like their arm is the arm of the
it's
machine.
an extension of them.
It is like, and it is the coolest thing to watch.
It's almost beautiful.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah. So after cowboying for a couple of years, I realized that if I wanted to make a living, I needed to do something different.
Yeah.
I love cowboying. It's a fantastic life. It's a rough life on your body. It hurts.
Yeah,
But
something to do in your 20s and early 30s, maybe.
yeah. Well, I don't know about going that far, but so I went back. I ended up moving back to the Phoenix area and got a job on some construction crews, and man, I was just blessed to be around some fantastic operators and people that just took me under their wing and showed me things.
Yeah.
Right. So we talked about it earlier about the older generation passing it down. Right.
Yeah.
I got fed. I got passed down a lot of information that then exposed me to a lot of different scenarios because I had a drive and a want
Yeah.
to do it and be better. And yes, I have this mentality that I'm going to be the best.
Yeah.
And I'm going to work at it until I'm the best. And I did.
I don't think that's a bad thing.
I don't either.
I think that I've said this to people before. I think there's a difference between arrogance and confidence, and I think there's a difference between being proud and having pride.
Yeah, for
you
sure.
know.
I have pride in my work.
Yeah.
You know, I'm.
Let me rephrase: prideful.
There
we
you go. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
So work construction for a little while. Went up the ranks very quickly. I mean, I became a general superintendent at a 500-man company at the age of 21.
You know, you touch on something that I think is really important for a lot of young people to realize. If you have drive, which let's call it what it is. If you understand hard work, that's
Yeah.
what drive is.
Yeah.
And if you have drive and you're willing to work hard, you can climb the ladder like a rocket.
Very quickly.
Yeah.
You put your head down and go.
Yeah.
They ask you to do something. There's no whining. There's no whatever. It's all right. Cool.
Best advice I ever got from an old journeyman was never be idle. He's like, if you're waiting for something to do, then clearly you're not doing your job.
Yeah,
He's
no, I
like,
agree with that.
Find something to do. He's like, I don't care if you clean my van. You know, he's like, but don't be standing there with your hands in your pockets. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
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 So
So you climbed the ladder.
climbed the ladder, and then I had a friend that I worked with a little bit prior to that he got a job with Caterpillar at the proving grounds in Tucson, and he told me I needed to come there. I actually took a massive pay cut
Yeah.
to go. Went there and went to work at the proving grounds testing prototype machines.
Okay.
Which was, again, that was a lot of fun. A lot of really cool things happened there that I can't talk about, but I probably could now because all that stuff has actually been released. I've been gone for long enough years now that it's all been released. But anyways, I was presented an opportunity to go to work for the dealership and become a certified instructor. And
Okay, so see, I was right. Top Gun School.
Yeah.
Certified instructor.
I became a certified instructor. So I went to Wagner Equipment Company, which is out of Denver.
Yeah.
And they put me through the schooling to become a certified instructor through CAT. And I was there for just a short period of time because my wife did not like the cold. Moving from Tucson to Denver was not...
That is very different.
Yeah.
I wouldn't call Denver cold, but I'm a Pennsylvania boy, so.
Yeah, well, the wind blows there very hard, and it's very cold in the wintertime. So, and we don't get the white stuff that sticks to the ground and freezes.
I would take that hands down over your 110-degree summers.
Yeah, well, not her.
Yeah.
So we ended up in Texas. Moved to Texas in 2007, and
Okay.
I went to work for Holt, which is the dealer here in Texas, and was their certified instructor for about 8 years.
Okay.
And then went into sales for a couple of years. I sold CAT equipment for a little while,
Okay.
but I was missing pieces
Yeah.
of me.
Yeah.
I found my passion when I started training. I found my calling in life, if you will, when I started training. And after a couple of years of selling machines, I had an opportunity because some of the people that I had done business with as a trainer were coming back and saying, "Hey, I can't get the results that you get
Right.
anywhere else. Can you come?" And I thought about it for a little bit, and finally said, "Yeah, okay, no problem."
Yeah.
So I started my company in 2016, and at that point I was actually going up into Nova Scotia, Canada, and out to the Bahamas to do training.
Another couple of years, you'll be hitting the 10-year mark, man.
Yeah, yeah, I'm right knocking on the door, buddy.
Yeah.
It's 8. I just celebrated eight years in business.
That's nothing small, man. That's
Yeah,
pretty cool.
Yeah, and this is my biggest year so far.
Wow.
Honestly.
Well, I
just
asked you
getting
that
bigger.
question earlier, and it was kind of a little tongue in cheek, and my reasoning for that is, I think that training overall is only going to increase.
It has to.
Yeah. Well, if you can do basic math and you understand the work shortages that we have, the unfortunate part is it's not just your industry; it's all industries.
Yeah.
I was even in a meeting the other day with an accounting firm, and they told me the stats for them. They're short in their industry over 80,000 accountants. Like,
Yeah.
it's just
I would take that right now today in ours because we're over 500.
yeah.
500,000 people is what we are lacking
Yeah.
to do the work that's let today.
Yeah.
That's not what's in the works to come. That's what's on the books today to be done.
Today, right now.
We're missing
right now.
500,000 people to
Yeah.
do that work.
Yeah.
So where are they coming from? Wherever they come from, they have to be brought in and taught and shown and taught. And so, yeah, that's where we fit in.
Yeah. Well, I think it's really essential. I think it's really important. I'm curious. So, we also, we've talked a lot, even about technology, and I don't think that people realize what technology is, because the hammer was considered technology, the screwdriver is considered
Yeah.
technology, and the wheel. But you talked about 9 levers and a steering wheel, and now it's just
Two joysticks.
Two joysticks. We're here at this event, and I've been at many events, and I've seen the VR machines that are teaching people. And what place do you think that stuff plays in training as well? Does it?
It's huge, and
Yeah.
I bought in on it. I own them.
Yeah.
I own a fleet of them.
Wow.
I have 3 of them in a trailer
Okay.
that I can haul around the country to do training, to give that first impression, to start showing individuals and getting that muscle memory
Yeah.
in a safe environment.
Yeah.
We won't put them in a spot where they can damage anything. They're not burning any fuel. They're in a safe spot.
Yeah.
And then when you do put them on the real machine, the muscle memory is there, the control memorization is there.
Yeah.
And so then learning the actual machine is so much faster and so much easier and so much less costly.
Don't you think one of the things? So I've actually sat on some of them and done it. I cannot believe what it feels like.
It's real.
It's crazy. And isn't the other aspect of it, okay, so when I was learning how to operate a machine, I remember guy climbed up in the cab, this does this, that does that, do this.
And orientation is all you got.
Yeah, that's all I got.
Yep.
And we talked about how I could feel the conduit. We're not going to talk about how many conduits I ripped right out of the ground before I learned that.
Hundreds of them,
Yes.
probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He said we're not going to talk about it.
Oh,
geez.
I didn't give an exact
Yeah.
number.
Yeah. But
I mean, I'll tell you how many I've hit.
That's the fascinating thing about the virtual thing is, and just to be clear, I cost my company money
Yes.
by doing that.
That's right.
You know, I can remember one in particular. We were working outside of the city, and
Especially if it was a live line.
well, you know what's worse than a live line is a lot of people listening. If you're under 25, you might not know what this is, but I don't know. It was like over 100 pair main telephone line for Ma Bell.
You just broke the company
Oh my word,
because that cost
dude! I could have
$10,000
thrown
a
up.
second.
There were these guys in the trench with this like spaghetti of wires, and they were there till late in the night trying to put people's phone lines back together.
Yeah, and it costs a lot of money.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
yeah, for sure.
Why are we talking about my crap? Yeah, let's keep going.
So the simulators are a huge piece. Like
Yeah.
I invested heavily in them
Yeah,
because I feel like it is that cutting edge and that next piece that I can get somebody started in that.
Yeah.
and literally walk away. Let them walk through the courses because the courses are designed to bring you up to speed.
Well, and then can you look at the tracking, the digital
Yeah,
tracking of
it's
their work,
all-
and you can kind of see
everything
You can
is
kind of gauge
recorded.
where they're at before then you take them to the next level.
Yeah,
yeah, that's huge.
And I can in the ones that are here, especially because these are the ones I own.
Well, you can say the name.
The 10-star,
Yeah, yeah.
they're fantastic. There's so
Yeah.
many reasons I went with 10-star, and I don't want to be a commercial for them right now, but here's why.
I'm sure they wouldn't mind.
Here's why I went with 10-star. You have all these machines on the same platform.
Yeah,
There's 6 machines that are all on the same platform that I use, right? There's more than 6. They have trucks and cars and ambulance and fire truck, and so I don't use that stuff.
Yeah.
I'm not teaching that stuff. I don't want to teach that stuff. I want to teach dirt.
Yeah.
Right. But I can teach everything off the same platform.
yeah.
It's change the control.
You can teach John Deere, Caterpillar.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
yeah, yeah.
Doesn't matter. And then I can tie them together. So this machine works with this machine. So I could literally put you in the excavator, me in the truck, or vice versa. I'll get in the excavator and I'll load you. You have to back up to me. I load you, and then you haul it off. And let's say we put my son in the dozer. You haul it over to him, you dump it, and he builds the road. I can tie it all together. So I can actually teach the whole process and watch multiple people at the same time and actually teach them how to interact with each other with hand signals and signage and
That technology is just fascinating to me.
yeah, it's big.
And exciting. I think that we, we're sitting here, and if you watch the news today and the world today, they're like talking about how dark the world is. And I think it is dark, but I also think that we live in a world where opportunity is greater than it's ever been.
It's huge. It's really huge.
And I think it's a mindset. Like, I think that we have to decide, I'm going after that.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe not only is the opportunity huge, but the technology and the things that are there to equip you. Like, if we can't figure out this workforce problem, if we can't figure out this training problem,
Yep.
if we can't close this gap, then we're stupid.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, and let's be honest. There's a lot. Everybody's listening to you they don't know I exist, and that's my fault because I don't know
Yeah.
how to market me. But
we can talk after the podcast. I can help you with
That's
that.
why we're doing this.
Yeah.
But there's other options. It's not just me, but I'm the only one in the United States that I know of that is independent.
Yeah. And actually, that matters.
Yeah. And I'm also the first person in the United States with the setup that I have that is
Right.
not a specific company. Like I know a couple of firms and some colleges that bought it,
Yeah.
but I'm the first. I had it before they did, and they use my setup as an
There's
example
something
how
about
to
being
build
first.
theirs.
You're able to learn, and you're able to be the expert, and so if you're listening, that's something that I think is really important, especially since you said your geographic area is what?
The world.
The world. So
Now I'm not
doesn't
going to haul the
matter if-
simulators around the world, but I will take them anywhere in the United States. That's for sure.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
I don't mind.
I there was an old timer that once told me, he goes, "I'll do anything for a price." So
100%. I mean, I guess I would haul them around the world. If
I
you
mean,
wanted
the
me to.
simulators that you're talking about, they come from, what is it, Sweden?
Sweden.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So-
already coming.
If we're going around the world, I'm just
Yeah.
going to have them ship one
Exactly.
to wherever we're going, and I'll unbox it, set it up, and
Yeah.
we'll go to town. But yeah, so I'm a firm believer that it's going to drastically change the way we train people.
I agree.
And not just that, but actually start some conversations and
I don't think it's that far away either.
attract people, right?
Yeah.
So I haven't done a whole lot of it just because I don't have the time
Yeah.
to just dedicate it, because it's a company of me.
Yeah.
So when I start getting pulled into high schools and things like, I love doing it, but I can't do it all by myself all the time. So I do take them to high schools and let the high schoolers see it,
Yeah.
get their hands on it, and kind of start that excitement, if you will, that hey,
Yeah.
you could do this.
Yeah.
And this is a rewarding career because unlike most, you actually can see everything you do.
Yeah.
You see the finished product. You see it before, during, after, and then you can see, and then you use it.
Yeah.
What other industry can you do that with?
Yeah.
None. Electrical, you can't
No.
see it prior, during, after. You can
Yeah.
use it,
Yeah.
but you can't see.
Well, in electrical, if you do it wrong, it blows up. So,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, ask
Great.
me how I know.
That's another podcast, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I know that we company that we work with out of Georgia, they Strack. They actually invited us to their grand opening of they created a training facility.
Yeah.
Where they have these virtual simulators. Listen, if you're an excavation company and you're listening to this, this is a huge deal. They have the virtual simulators there, and then they walk outside and they get in the real machine.
Yeah.
And they have acres of land that then they're able to move. And this is the type of investment that these companies are putting into their people. These are the companies that are going to be there long after the companies that aren't.
Because they see
Yeah,
it.
because they see it. And
Not-
they
not
care
just
about
that,
people.
But they also understand that when they invest
Yeah.
in their people,
Yeah.
they stick and stay. They're loyal.
Well,
They don't.
even if they don't,
They don't
that's
leave
what we
for
have to do.
a buck. You know what I'm saying?
I do, but I mean, even if you cannot, it is not a reason not to train.
Yeah.
Because you're worried that they're going to leave.
That's right.
Listen, I did a podcast earlier this year with Jason Richmond, and he said, there's two camps of people. There's either learn and grow or protect and defend.
Yeah.
And this is the thing that I'll add to what he said. If you're in the protect and defend camp, there is a third camp, and that's shrink and die.
Yeah.
Because that's what's going to happen.
I was going to say something similar. You're going backwards.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
When you're not growing and developing yourself, you're going backwards.
Anytime that you allow that protect and defend mentality is a fear-based mentality.
Mm-hmm.
And I think anytime that we allow fear to come into our decision making, that it has a negative effect. It breaks down logical thinking. It breaks down those things. Yeah, and that segues really well into the last question that I want to ask you. Because I think a big reason that we don't talk about our mistakes and that we don't share them with people is fear.
Yeah.
We're afraid of, well, if I say that, then they're not going to respect me. They're not going to think that I'm smart, or I'm going to lose my job, or this or that. And it's like, I told a guy once that actually made a mistake at work, and I said, I said, what I can guarantee you is, if you don't tell me and I find out, you will be fired.
Yeah.
But if you tell me, there's an element of respect that and fear gets in there, and they don't understand. Like, if someone tells you the truth, no matter how hard it is to tell you, do you want to fire them? I actually think that makes them one of the most valuable employees that you might have.
I agree. I do agree with that. I think that if you come to me and you own it up,
Yeah.
immediately,
Yeah.
I probably have zero problem. I might be mad that the situation happened.
Oh yeah, I'm
but we're
gonna
walk
be
through
mad.
it. But we're gonna walk through it.
Exactly.
Right? I might be mad, but I probably am not even gonna show you how mad I really am. I'm probably gonna
Yeah.
hold it in
Yeah.
and say, look, okay, let's fix it, and then let's have a conversation, and so we can walk through how,
Yeah.
why, when, and prevent.
So, Jay,
Yeah.
what's a mistake that you've made in life that you're willing to share with people that they could learn from?
I'm glad you went broad, because I don't want to talk about.
I think I just kicked you. I
You
apologize.
did. I don't care.
Yeah.
It didn't hurt. I'm glad you brought up. You went broad and went with life, because
Yeah.
I want to talk about mine.
Yeah.
And the worst decision I ever made, the worst mistake I ever made, was thinking that I could go through things and not talk to my wife.
Ooh.
I might get a little emotional.
All right, we're about being real, man. Come on. This is what it's about.
We were married for 6 years. And in that first 6 years, we went from Tucson to Denver to Texas. And when I went to Denver, I was traveling a lot.
Yeah.
I was gone.
Yeah.
When we went to Texas, I was gone a lot. I wasn't communicating. I didn't know how to talk to her about anything. I didn't know how to talk to her about life. I didn't know how to talk to her about what I was doing or where I was going or how I felt or, that pride piece that you talked about. Okay. I was also not following Christ.
Yeah.
But the biggest mistake was not being able to communicate with her. And it separated us.
Yeah.
And we got divorced.
Wow.
And it crushed me. I spiraled downhill so hard, so fast. I led a horrible example for my kids.
Wow.
Doing all the wrong things, chasing women, drinking. I had a problem with alcohol. I had a big problem with alcohol. Didn't realize I had that big a problem with alcohol until I come to the realization that, that's just how it is. So fast forward a couple of years and, I actually can say that I hated her at one point in time.
Wow.
Because how crushed I was over everything. And again, I was not able to talk through anything on my end because I didn't know how. I didn't know how to have any of those conversations.
Yeah.
She found her way to get to God. Thank God. Praise God that she found him.
Yeah.
She brought my kids. She brought my kids to Jesus, and they gave their lives to him. They got saved, and I got invited to come watch my kids get baptized. And
Your wife invited you to?
yes, she invited me to come watch the kids get baptized at her church, and I'm sitting in the back, and I had a realization that something had to change. And it took a little while after that still.
Yeah.
But I did find Christ. And no, he found me. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
The song is for real. He
Yeah.
will leave the 99
Yeah.
to chase the one.
Come
I
on.
was the one.
Come on, Jerry.
He brought us back together. He healed us. We moved forward. We just celebrated our 9th back together. Yes, sir.
Come on.
The moral is when we got back together, we did not rehash the past. We had an open and honest conversation and said,
There it is.
I am not that person. She said, I'm not that person. Great. I'm Jay.
Yeah.
I'm Bridget.
Yeah.
We dated. We didn't
Come
date
on.
the first time. We actually dated. We still date.
Come on.
I got my family back.
Come on.
And now my kids are being led in a different path, a different way. My son's here with me now at this leadership conference
Yeah.
because I want him to grow in ways that I'm growing and feed him in these ways. But the bottom line is I would not be in this position that I'm in now without getting Jesus in my life and putting him first and my family second.
Yeah.
But that communication piece, I cannot explain how important it is that from this day forward, whoever's listening,
Yeah. Come on.
your spouse is the most important person in your life.
Yeah.
If you read the Bible, it clearly states she comes before everything.
Yeah.
You lay down your life for her, before her,
Yeah.
before your children,
Yeah.
and vice versa.
Yeah,
I'm
absolutely.
that for her before the
agree.
children, and that's the way the Bible reads it, and that's the way we live our life. So there's Jesus, and then there's Bridget.
Yeah.
And Bridget, if you once you get to know me and we're going to become friends, you and I. We're already friends. Let's be honest. You're going to understand that she is the glue
Yeah.
because I travel the world, literally, and she manages everything else.
Wow.
And she is a rock star,
Yeah.
right? There's not a coincidence in why God puts your spouse with you. There's not a coincidence in it. It is divine.
Yeah.
It is by His design, and all He wants is for you to treat her like He asked you to,
Yeah.
and she will do everything else.
Yeah.
I had to learn that lesson. I thought I could go through life without. It's impossible
Yeah.
when you start looking at business and family and then all the stresses of life and all the other things that we as men are not taught
Yeah.
how to talk. We're not taught that it's okay to cry.
Yeah.
It's okay to go to somebody and say, man, I'm struggling.
Yeah.
I wish that wasn't the case, but that's the way we're raised.
Yeah.
And, you know, I feel like I failed my son to
Yeah.
a certain extent because that's how I brought him up for too many years.
Yeah, but you have
We're breaking those chains, baby.
you have one of the most ultimate stories of redemption.
Yeah.
I
We're breaking those chains.
Absolutely.
They're gone,
Absolutely.
you know, and we're working on helping him understand now that you can't be hard.
Yeah.
You've got to soften your heart. You have to do things this way
Yeah.
so that you don't go through what we did.
Yeah.
And if I can imprint anything on anybody that's listening, it's that you've got to communicate
Yeah.
with your spouse. She is everything,
Yeah.
100%. And this goes into every trade. I'm not. This
Oh, I
isn't just
100%
mine.
agree.
This is every trade.
And if you're
because-
going to go into business for yourself, it's like amplified times a million.
yeah, I was going to say you better put a couple of zeros behind
Yeah.
it because
Yeah.
it's the stress is real.
Yeah.
The struggle, you know, you don't understand what the struggle is until you try it
Yeah.
and you fail.
Well, I don't think that we're meant to go through this life alone.
We are not.
And there's something about, you know, I always say to people, well, I want to have an honest conversation. And,
That was honest right there, baby.
well, I was. And, but it stems from a conversation that I had with my wife and being in business. And I hate the word transparency because I believe if you, I don't believe it's truthful. You know, I don't believe that I'm not going to tell everybody everything. And so, and actually, in the starting of my business, there was a time where it was like I had to process some things. You know, best advice I ever got from an old timer was before you get home, stop about a mile or two away or a block away from home, sit in your truck, and just kind of let out for 10 minutes all of the day so that when you walk in the door, your first words to your wife aren't, oh, that shithead that I was dealing with or whatever.
Yep.
But the term honest conversation, and I say this a lot, some people don't like it, but this is what I believe. It came from a conversation with my wife where I said, we were talking about, well, do you want me to tell you everything that's going on in the business, or do you want me to be honest? And so I believe that honesty is not telling everything, but not, and here is the kicker, because only you can know what this is.
Yep.
It is not hiding anything.
Yes.
Because if you want to be honest and you are saying to your spouse or even your business partner or whoever you're working with or even me and you right here, right now, I want to be honest with you. I'm not telling you every single aspect of my life, but I ain't going to hide anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what honesty is.
You're absolutely correct. You hit the nail on the head. The honesty piece is 100% the most crucial. I do agree with you that you can't divulge everything because, number one, they don't want to hear it.
Well, and
they don't
sometimes it's
understand
irresponsible
it.
too.
They don't understand it. And then you got to explain all the other details
Exactly.
around their backside, and they lost interest. And now what you actually want to tell them, it's too late.
Dude, that's good.
Just be the honest. Just tell them, look, today was fantastic.
Yeah.
Today was fantastic.
Yeah.
Right? What did I learn today? I learned that we got to love. We got to see people.
Yeah.
We got to see them where they're at.
Yeah.
We have to get to know them. We have to understand who they really are.
Yeah.
Simple.
Yeah.
Why did I have to learn that? We
Yeah.
we're not taught it.
Yeah. But
Right?
it's the same thing that you said. You know, you talked about a sports team. You got to keep learning. You got to keep training. You got to keep going through it. And I really appreciate your honesty with me. I believe time is a finite resource that is diminishing every minute, every second, every moment. And so I try to be very intentional to who I sit across from when I have these conversations, because time is a resource that I have that is disappearing
Every
second. This is time well spent.
Thank you.
And if you're listening to this, I think Jay is touching on something that is so important. And I so appreciate your honesty. This is what brings value to what we're doing right here. This is what it is. And that is, there's a couple of things that I want to say here. One, I stand beside you in your faith, and I believe the same thing. And I think your story of redemption and your testimony is huge. And there are probably people out there listening that their marriage or their situation is like, they're like, it's over, it's done, it's whatever.
It's never over.
It's never over.
Give it one more day.
Yeah.
Give it one more day.
And that is the thing that you need to be remembering. That is the thing that you need to be remembering. And I believe that redemption is possible. And that's just it. And
find the gratitude in something.
Absolutely.
Find the gratitude in the way she did the dishes today. Find the gratitude in whatever it is.
Yeah.
One thing will change the atmosphere. One
Absolutely.
thing will change
Gratitude is such a
the way
powerful
your
thing.
mind works. And I'm not a big believer in a lot of the disorders that people are claiming. I'll just come out and say it. You find a way to be gratitude.
Yeah.
You can't be sad.
Yeah.
Period. You can't praise God and be sad.
Yeah.
Can't happen.
So
Find a way to find a gratitude in something
you're
He's given
100%
you,
right.
and anxiety disappears. There is no anxiety. There's no such thing as anxiety. Let's be
Yeah.
honest.
That
There's no such
you
thing.
are right there. Yeah.
Find gratitude. Be grateful for what He has given you, for your life, for your family, for your children, for your job, for whatever it is. Find
Yeah.
that gratitude. You can't be sad.
I literally just had a meeting with a guy a couple of weeks ago, and he shared a story with me to encourage me. And I was struggling with, and just to be real and honest with people, I was struggling with anxiety, stress, all these different things. And he said, there's this scientific study that says that there's these two parts of the brain. And so this part over here is gratitude, this part over here is anxiety and stress. And the study proves, like, just take God out of it. But the study proves that you cannot have gratitude and this part of your brain function.
It's correct.
They don't work together.
It's correct.
And so, and for that, then just think about maybe you were designed that way. Just a little thought, but just saying. Wow, Jay, what we say that we want to have an honest and real conversation. I so appreciate you.
You're welcome.
Stepping up to the line. Like, I mean, I asked you, we were just talking over here, and you threw your backpack down and you came over and sat down. So this was a great conversation. I think it has tremendous value.
Good.
I appreciate you stepping up.
I've enjoyed
to the line.
this. Yeah.
Good.
You're welcome.
Me too. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.